Stay in Limpopo, officials there are investigating possible food poisoning at the Makahlule Primary School after 35 pupils fell ill and then had to be treated in hospital. The Education Department says 22 pupils who were vomiting were transported to a nearby clinic and then later taken to the Malamulele hospital. And then a second group of 13 learners who were complaining of headaches and stomach cramps were also rushed to hospital. All pupils were discharged after being screened by health professionals. The department says it will take food samples for testing and also check on snacks sold by vendors outside school premises.
MEC Mabungulirule Ramakhanya calls on all parents and education community not to panic as the situation is under control and will be investigated thoroughly to ensure that learners are safe at all times.
All right, let's take you to Naledi in Soweto. You would have seen there were protests overnight following the deaths of 5 children in the community who allegedly consumed poisonous snacks that they purchased from a local spaza shop. Police officers were deployed there after chaos erupted yesterday, with community members closing down several spaza shops. Ziniko Mhlaba is there for us live now from Naledi. Ziniko, what is the picture looking like this morning, and is there a likelihood of another flare-up of protests and violence?
Good morning, Iman, and of course, from what we've seen so far in the last 2 hours, as we've been driving around this particular area, Naledi in Soweto, there are no signs at all of any possible protest that can be expected, at least in the next 2 hours or so, because the way they will do it, if there was going to be a protest, they will gather early in the morning. We'll see law enforcement driving up and down these streets, but there is none of that so far. And of course, as we said earlier on, that people are going on with their daily chores and responsibilities, actually in one of the local businesses here in Naledi, just to get a sense from the people who are running their local businesses in terms of what has been the impact of the protest of the past 2 days on their own businesses, but also how they relate with foreign nationals who are also operating their own businesses here in Naledi. So I'm going to bring them in very quickly. Ngiyabonga kakhulu ngesikhathi sakho mama bani bekushubile la in the past 2 days amabhizinesi wenu bewavaliwe idamage yenzekile kini njengabantu abarana amabhizinesi lana ingakanani
slow business yona hayihambi kahle bavala itrata into eziningi azibe right and bathatha lento lezi zama-Pakistan sebathi lento lezi sibulala abantu bona bayasithatha bayazidla. I don't believe ukuthi ama-Pakistan ngoba ngibona ke moya omubi ogene umuntu nje mobaningi.
So kahle uthi bayasukelwa nje lamajita ngaphandle akusiyibo laba abathengisela izinto ezidliwa abantwana
bona gareka go bone mara ntho tseo I guess maybe ke ntho tsa gale tse ba di beang ko pele ba di rekisa tse ntšha ba di beya ko morao re ka se tsebe le rona bona.
Okay, sure. Baba Mr. Paul, thank you. Bhuti wami mdala uphila la. Ngicela usitshele nge-relationship yenu nama foreign nationals ngabantu abanjani from your own experience.
Okay, starting batla ntle ka business yabo. Right now, Sarabona is a lot about bana, especially bana, but Sokofala, Rekamobo. If you look at Salazar, I call a fella come extension. A government on a police. Here's something a one or always ala. Ovalava, Papa Zimbabwe can I come. Please, government are like your neck out to Zarona, who are fellas. Rafek they are on. Raipane la garikawa skitswa ka ko strategy ila etsa la le ka ko bole thoba street o tsamaiso wa te bana ba tlhokofetseng ya kwa la bankeng hore wa ba sankiwe ba thuthi khumbule kaya
manje angithi kuvalwe iphaza lana zonke ezivaliwe nithenga kuphi manje anisoli mhlambe ukuthi manje ni stranded
ukuyisola wethu angithi sifuna umbuzo futhi ukuthi kwenzakala ngalabantwana babantu ukuyisola uzoba khona siyaya kule mashopo amanye sithenge khona mara lo government yamela abone ke
Manje, let me bring you in, Bab Daniel. Ne? Uyayisupport le nto yokuvalwa kweziprati nokuprotesta, uyavumelana nayo wena?
No, anifanele niyisupporta too much ngoba abantu bafanele ke bathenge izinto emasamashopini laba ngakuduze nakhona. Bafanele bathenge izinto kuduze bakhona kubasidlela zona lezinto. Government uyafanele ke lezinto masikahle kahle sichikiwe siboniwa sinani chief lezinto bana diprove ngazona baba akuqale masekubula kwezinto lana eNaledi kuqale babulelwa izintana zithu eNaledi siyaphinda sibonakala lezinto ugovernment uya ngani prove concrete wabona yini kahle kahle ibonakala ukubula kwabantu kubula abantwana kulapho ke
ngiyabonga babam ngiyabonga. So Imani, just key things that are coming out from the gentlemen here. They are saying that, well, they were impacted by the protests which took place over the past 2 days, and their business has been slow since, but also emphasizing the point that there is a need really for government to really look at, where do these poisonous products that are being bought by people are coming from, just to ensure that there's monitoring and inspection that is done across the local spaza shops, but also emphasizing that, well, they seem to be struggling now to get their daily product because they have to travel long distances to buy those from far away shops when you consider the fact that all the local spaza shops here, especially those that are owned by foreign nationals, has been closed down.
Yeah, Ziniko, it's so disturbing, listening to all the different aspects to this. The one is the need for the community to have that accessibility and for them to be able to shop in peace. And the other side of it is the want to get government attention. I mean, you wonder why there isn't sort of one standardization authority and everyone who operates in communities would have to conform to an existing set of standards, sign and be almost approved. Like how you have the certification in various stores around the consumption of foodstuffs. Similarly, to say, they've been vetted and now they're approved to operate in the community. There's a big missing gap there.
That's right, Iman. Actually, if you consider the strides or attempts by the Gauteng provincial government in terms of reviving township economy in and around Gauteng, these are the issues that those bills or those government programs or policies, initiatives are trying to really address in terms of who can operate a spaza shop in a township and what could be the guidelines that must govern those operations in local spaza shops. But also remember that, some local business are saying that, well, these foreign-owned spaza shops sell their products at a very, very unreasonable, cheap prices. So it becomes difficult for locals to use the same rates in terms of pricing their products. So those are some of the issues, underlying matters that I think government, together with the relevant stakeholders and affected communities, must really address in terms of how do we monitor, how do we ensure that there are guidelines which must be followed by everyone who's operating a business in and around these local communities across the province, but I think to some extent across the country.
Ziniko Mhlaba, live for us in Naledi, Soweto, keeping an eye on the situation there in the aftermath of the deaths of little children in the community following allegedly the consumption of snacks from a local spaza shop.